Quick note before we start. This video is analysis and perspective, not insider reporting or official news. Everything discussed here is based on public context, league-wide patterns, historical precedent, and on-field interpretation. Nothing here replaces official announcements, press conferences, or team statements. All right, let's get into it. Hey, Broncos Country, what's up? There's a certain feeling that comes around every offseason. Not hype, not dread. Something quieter than that. It's the feeling of standing at a crossroads, knowing the direction matters more than the noise around it. That's where Denver finds itself right now. We're sitting here in early 2026, coming off a season that didn't end with confetti, but didn't end in chaos either. The kind of year that forces honest reflection. The kind that makes organizations decide whether they're close or just telling themselves they are . And that's what makes this moment interesting . In the NFL, most conversations revolve around headlines. Who's in? Who's out? Who said what? What rumor gained traction today? But the teams that actually build something sustainable rarely operate at headline speed. They move quietly. They evaluate internally. They adjust process before results collapse. That's why this offseason feels less about a single move and more about alignment. From the outside, Denver appears to be entering a phase where calibration matters more than reaction. That doesn't guarantee success. Nothing does in this league, but it signals intention. And intention is where real change begins. Looking back at last season, the Broncos weren't defined by one flaw. The defense showed resilience in key moments. The offense showed flashes of structure, even creativity. What it lacked was consistency. Drives that opened efficiently didn't always finish that way. Adjustments didn't always stick. The operation functioned, but it didn't fully hum. That kind of performance doesn't scream failure. It suggests misalignment. And when experienced coaching staffs see misalignment, they don't panic. They evaluate. Across the league, offensive evolution rarely comes from tearing everything down. More often, it comes from redistribution of responsibility, refinement of workflow, and better alignment between preparation and execution. This is where conversations about continuity enter the picture. Quarterbacks develop best when language stays consistent. Offensive systems mature when communication pathways are clear. Coaching staffs improve when responsibilities match strengths. From a league-wide perspective, organizations that invest in internal development often gain stability without sacrificing innovation. That's not a prediction. It's a pattern. In recent years, NFL teams have leaned more heavily on internal candidates, not out of convenience, but out of efficiency. Internal coaches already understand terminology, pacing, and expectations. That familiarity allows change to happen faster and with less friction. From an analytical standpoint, when teams explore internal options, they're often prioritizing rhythm over reset. It doesn't mean decisions are made. It means options are being weighed. And weighing options is what functional organizations do. One misconception that still floats around NFL discourse is that delegation equals weakness. It doesn't. Delegation equals scale. As head coaches take on broader responsibilities, game management, staff cohesion, long-term planning, redistributing certain tasks can actually improve efficiency. Across the league, many of the most successful offensive minds eventually adjusted how play calling duties were shared or structured. Not because they lost control, because they gained perspective. Any scenario involving shared responsibility isn't about surrendering authority. It's about optimizing it from a strategic lens. Offenses that present multiple tendencies are harder to prepare for. Defensive coordinators thrive on predictability. When tendencies shift by situation, half, or personnel grouping, preparation becomes more complex. Historically, teams that successfully introduced layered offensive identities gained late-season advantages, not through trickery, but through adaptability. That kind of flexibility doesn't happen overnight. It requires trust, communication, and clarity of roles, which brings us back to process. If you study successful offensive structures across the NFL, a few themes repeat: clear division of responsibility, strong quarterback coach, communication, willingness to adapt, midseason emphasis on situational football. Some teams split responsibilities by half, others by play type, others by preparation versus execution. There's no single formula. What matters is fit, and fit is contextual. What stands out about Denver's current posture isn't urgency, it's patience. There's no rush to announce sweeping changes, no public declarations of overhaul, just quiet evaluation. That restraint matters. Organizations that chase optics often sacrifice structure. Organizations that prioritize structure often weather volatility better. That doesn't mean results are guaranteed. It means foundations are being considered carefully. Coaching philosophy influences roster construction. Offensive identity affects which receivers fit, which linemen thrive, which quarterbacks progress. If an organization signals commitment to adaptability in communication, it naturally attracts players who value structure. That's where coaching direction quietly shapes personnel decisions, not through headlines, but through alignment. Denver enters this offseason with flexibility, cap space, draft capital, options. How those options are used will depend on clarity of vision. Zooming out, the AFC West remains a division defined by contrast. Some teams emphasize continuity, some chase resets, some fluctuate year to year. In that environment, stability becomes leverage. Denver doesn't need to dominate the offseason conversation. It needs to stack small advantages that compound over time. Those advantages rarely trend, they reveal themselves late. Important to balance optimism with realism. Coaching adjustments don't always succeed. Internal promotions can stall. Shared responsibility can backfire. The NFL punishes miscalculation quickly, but from an analytical lens. Denver's approach aligns with how sustainable organizations operate, evaluating honestly, adjusting intentionally, and resisting reactionary swings. Approach isn't flashy. Functional. This moment isn't about one hire. It isn't about one title. It isn't about one announcement. It's about direction. And right now, Denver appears to be moving with a level of calm that suggests clarity is forming, not overnight, but deliberately, for a franchise that spent years searching for stability. That matters. Progress in the NFL doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it looks like fewer headlines. Fewer leaks, more alignment. And while none of this guarantees wins, it creates an environment where growth is possible. Broncos Country. That's worth paying attention to. Let me know how you read this moment. Is this the kind of patience you want to see? Or do you think the team needs bolder swings? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk it out. Go Broncos.